Once upon a time, Donald Trump claimed he had a net worth of $10 billion, but unfortunately for him, this has been disputed. But you also cannot really know how much the Donald is worth, because so much of his business holdings are private. Anyways, this video is about how he made his money, so in order for us to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning.
Home building is very close to my heart. That's where I grew up. My father built homes in Brooklyn and Queens, and that's how he started. And he worked very hard, building garages. He started off building garages because the car was sort of coming into vogue, and people had houses, but they didn't have any place to store their car.
See, Donald Trump is the son of Fred Trump, who is a very successful American real estate developer and philanthropist. The Donald claims that his father gave him a small loan of $1 million to get started. But the truth is, Donald Trump did not only get his financing from his father, he also got his business style from his father. Fred Trump started a $1 million residential real estate business in Brooklyn and Queens of New York, and he was known for building quality buildings, and many of his buildings still stand to this day. Fred Trump's buildings typically got constructed under budget, and they were mostly government-funded projects. What he did was, he constructed the buildings under budget and then he pocketed the difference as a profit. That was actually a legal practice, but that same practice got him called before Congress at the end. Fred Trump was also known for understanding tax laws and taking every tax break that was possible for him to take. And guess who was learning from him? His son, Donald Trump.
$916 million loss to avoid paying personal federal income taxes.
Of course I do. Of course I do. And so do all of her donors, or most of her donors. I know many of her donors. Her donors took massive tax write-offs.
So have you
a lot of my write-off was depreciation and other things that Hillary, as a senator, allowed.
And Donald Trump didn't just learn from his father. Oh no, far from that. He is the definition of privileged because he relied on his father's resources. He had his father co-sign on some of his loans, and he took advantage of his father's banking and political connections. Yeah, that sounds like privilege to me. Donald Trump's first big project was the Commodore Hotel, which he partnered with the Hyatt organization to buy in 1976.
I had a certain number of years to execute this option. And I went to the city and state and I said, you're building your convention center in the wrong location, because they had massive cost problems and they were building it in the water in not as good a location. And here I had land that was on the water. And so I went to them and I convinced them to build it on my land. It was a great thing. And then I did the Commodore Hotel. I essentially ripped down the Commodore Hotel, built the Grand Hyatt Hotel, and we did a lot of things. And they were glamorous projects, and then ultimately I did.
At the time, many buildings in Manhattan were facing foreclosure. The Commodore itself owed $1.5 million in debt, and New York was not seen as the luxury vacation spot as it is today. The investment was a big risk for Donald Trump, but as we all know, Donald Trump does not back down from a challenge. He used his famous negotiation skills to convince New York City to give the hotel a 40-year tax break that saved him $160 million. And check this out, in 1996, he sold his half of the hotel to Hyatt for $142 million. The man definitely knows a thing or two about negotiations, but as you all know, he did not stop there. Donald Trump continued to invest in and develop grand New York buildings, including buying the Plaza Hotel and the former Bank of Manhattan building. But the deal that made him the most fame and fortune is the 58th-floor Trump Tower on Fifth Avenue, completed in 1983. The building is still the headquarters for the Trump Organization, and Donald Trump and his family live on the building's top floors. As we continue to explore how Donald Trump made his billions, you have to know that even though it seems like Donald Trump made his fortune as a real estate mogul, the real estate is just a front for the real money-making machine. See, Trump's entire enterprises rely solely on his brand value, which he began building in the 1980s.
There's a new game. What is it? Mr. Trump, Mr. Trump. Is it an airline? A new convention center? Mr. Trump.
My new game is Trump, the game.
In the 80s, there was no Facebook or TikTok, so to build a successful brand, you had to be on TV. Donald Trump knew that, and so he did regular TV interviews and was extremely vocal during the 1988 Republican primaries. So, as his brand awareness grew, he took full advantage of it, and in the 1980s, the Trump Organization began to license the Trump name to other companies, accelerating its prominence globally. Yes, Trillionaire Jeff, the man knows how to build a brand. Today, many Trump brands pay licensing fees to use the name, and are not owned by the Trump Organization. Some of those organizations include the Trump Ocean Club and Trump Fine Foods. Of course, Mr. Trump did not stop there. He did what every good brand owner does. In 1987, he wrote and published a book called The Art of the Deal. That book, my friends, took the Trump brand to levels you can only dream of. It sure did, and right after the success of the book, he decided to crown it all by getting back on TV, and this time not by giving interviews to promote his real estate projects, but by having his own TV show. The man is a marketing machine. He solidified his reputation as a straight-talking negotiator with his decade-long run as the host of the TV show The Apprentice, where his crass marks and public firing of potential employees, often on an apparent whim, earned him legions of fans and made him a superstar. So, with all the stardom and brand recognition, it only made sense for Donald Trump to leverage his brand and personality for more profit, which led him to some controversial business dealings with foreign companies. He once brought in some Chinese investors to help finance his project on New York's West Side rail yards. Donald Trump and his investors eventually sold that land for $1.8 billion. Even though Donald Trump is a successful billionaire businessman and former president of the United States, he has also met major business challenges in his business life as well. Here is a list of some of Donald Trump's businesses that have failed over the years. Trump Steaks, Go Trump, Trump Airlines, Trump Vodka, Trump Mortgage, Trump the Game, Trump Magazine, Trump University, Trump Ice, the New Jersey Generals, Tour de Trump, and Trump Network. So, even the people who seem to be the most successful have a lot of failures, which proves if you do not give up in life, your success might be around the corner. If you thought learning how Trump made his money was interesting, then you have to see the next video on the screen. It's about the 10 billionaire facts you didn't know about.